Hello and welcome to the Serpent Temple podcast. This week we are going to be delving into the new releases by Enslaved and Memoriam. The first will be Memoriam's new album, Rise to Power. The second, Enslaved's kind of pre-tease EP.
Yeah,
Forest Dweller.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's got most of the tracks on the Enslaved EP appear to be appearing on the album that's slated for release in a few weeks' time. So I suppose it is a bit of a teaser.
It is a teaser, yeah.
A pre-headliner.
Pre-headline. It's that which comes before the main event. I'm very curious as to why Enslaved have done this.
Well, we were saying it's actually quite an interesting discussion we were having a little bit. And there seems to be like this new kind of, I suppose, trend or just format of releasing music where a lot of the bigger bands tend to release singles and try and generate like interest and engagement through social media in the singles, as opposed to just dropping an album when you know that a lot of those deep cuts are just never going to get appreciated.
It's very true. It's interesting because, I guess we just start with the Enslaved EP, shall we?
Yeah, might as well.
We're on it now.
Let's switch it up.
Let's switch it up. The plan is on its head. Because, with the Enslaved EP, there's like the last song, Caravans to the Outer Worlds.
Yep, and there was an EP released in 2021 of the same title, and this track is, after some extensive research, I've concluded that it is the exact same track, even down to the production. And
interestingly, it's also on the next album. Like in the track listing for Metal Archives, it's also on Heimdall, which is the much third released.
Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of more common because you do get tracks which may have been showcased on a few EPs that will get their album showing later down the line.
Interesting.
Whether or not the production or it's going to be like a re-recording of the track remains to be seen. But I can only gather that the production is going to be the same as what's featured on this EP. I mean, it does seem to be like just like a teaser / precursor to the Heimdall album release in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I noticed as well there's like a theme through skimming the lyrics of like a transition and leaving behind the body. And Heimdall is the guy that guards the Rainbow Bridge into, is it Valhalla?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's played by Idris Elba.
There's an amazing video of a guy.
Oh, I know what you're referencing. Yeah. I thought you just fucked up the words.
I've been losing my shit.
Okay, go and explain it because it is a good video.
It's so good. I'll explain the video. I'm sure it'll make it funny. But no, I think it's like the Grammys or the Oscars or something. This guy is like giving an award to Assassin's Creed. And he's like, you could tell he's reading it and he's just like kind of sweating. I don't know if he's on coke or he's just like, the award goes to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And you just see him die inside as he's saying it.
Love it.
Valhalla.
Yeah, that guy definitely channeled, what's his name? I forgot his name, John Travolta.
What did John Travolta do?
Or when he was announcing Idina Menzel, who performed the music for Frozen, and he pronounced it Adele Dazeem. That was... And he fucked up Les Mis as well. Like, I don't fucking know how to say it, but he was like...
Les Miserables.
Oh, he said, to be fair, he was quite close to that.
Is it French?
I said it's French.
I thought he said, is it French?
No.
I was like, of course it's...
I think he said something, it was kind of similar to like Les Miserables. He fucked it up though.
Les
like,
Miserables.
But.
That's amazing. That's the English version. The English version will be very short. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, there's like there's like some lyrics which I found really beautiful. Where like when the trees will have no fathers. What a good line. And then there was one where I was like, oh no, is Enslaved trying to tell us something? Because I've lost it. Yeah, they say, why is it we never notice the distance before it is too late? I am leaving these songs behind. I'm leaving our songs to die. I was like, no, don't leave, please. Enslaved, don't leave. But I'm sure it's not. I'm sure that this isn't what they're doing because they literally say, I'm leaving my dreams to die.
I think there's always been that kind of like aspect of kind of like astral plane and an existentialism in a lot of their lyrics where it's about like, you know, kind of like transcending into different planes and thoughts of existence. Like they're cool because like they're one of the few bands who I think have successfully fused like prog in its purest sense into like a more extreme form of metal music. Like, you know, I mean, like take a band like Voivod as well. I think Voivod are another band that have done a great job of kind of like carving out a very cool and proggy niche of the musical spectrum. But like Enslaved totally, like I always say, they're like the black metal equivalent of Opeth.
I was literally going to say this. I was actually going to say there's so many moments on this particular album, in particular, EP in particular, that really remind me of prog opeth.
Yeah.
Like some of the riffs were like so sorceressy at times. I loved that about it.
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, for sure. It's but it's just interesting because it just shows that because I don't think they're classically trained, because me and Shem done an extensive episode about their entire back catalogue, and there's a really good documentary that was released by some aspect of Norwegian TV that I think just were like cataloguing the band's entire cataloguing agalocken akakocken. But no, it was and yeah, like it's funny because like it's so cool how these guys who've been playing music since they were like, I mean, they've been in the band since they were like 13 and 14, and yet like you've seen them go from like a relatively rustic black metal band to like these like fucking really like fucking like incredible musicians.
Yeah, it's true. I find it interesting. There's like a bit of contrast in the EP as well. I can't remember which song. Maybe it was Congelia. One of the songs was really black metal-y. It was like quite starkly contrasting with the rest of
That's definitely Congelia. Yeah. That was, and they do a good job of that. They do a good job of switching it up between like a more slower paced, more like kind of like icy epic. Like really, you could just imagine like mountain vistas while the song's playing, but then you got some tracks that are just kind of more reminiscent of the old school kind of like black metal assault of the earlier albums.
Totally. Yeah, I really like that. The guitar work, well, I think the favorite, it's hard to say, but I think the drumming was spectacular. Like it was really masterful. The progressions, the way that they like bridge between section to section so effortlessly, and there's like so very little repetition, and yet it's all like fitted together. It's like the kind of songwriting that I like totally worship as someone who likes songwriting a lot. And then the guitars, like the harmonies are just so gorgeous, but without being sort of self-masturbatory, I suppose. Yeah. It's
a good way of putting it. I just had the word fellatio pop into my head.
That's funny because I'm literally reading a lyric that's like, it says the tears of the seaman. It's all related. Yeah.
Nice. It's funny that you mentioned the drums, because I believe this is now maybe the third album with new drummer Ivor Sandoy. So they've actually, Enslaved, got quite an extensive list of amazing drummers that played for them. First one being Trim, who we covered a couple of weeks back as a member of, who we didn't realise was a member of Zyklon at the time. But then Kato was a long-serving drummer for the band as well. And he was like, he had a really strong sense of like he was definitely the rhythmic backbone of the band. And he was like a real driving force behind a lot of the songs, especially when you listen to Writ Here and In Times. And I feel like, like they lost, so Kato retired to do fishing, we presume. And they also, me and Shem were devastated at the loss of, I forgot his name. My words went blank.
No. Not devastated enough.
Herbrand Larson. Herbrand Larson.
Herbrand.
So the clean vocalist, keyboardist. So and they've taken on a new guy, Hekon, who is looks about 20 years younger than the rest of the band.
His dad was a roadie for was it Rainbow or something?
Was it Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
Oh, something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I think.
That's so cool.
But so it's interesting because there's a period of time where I feel like with the new members, like things maybe didn't mesh as well as previous albums. Like the previous album, Utgard, was probably, I loved it personally, but it wasn't as well received as some of their earlier works. And, this has always been an issue with the band because they've got such a high caliber back catalogue that there's always inevitably going to be a few albums that fall a bit short of some of the earlier masterpieces. But from what I've heard on this album so far, it feels like the first album where like the new members or the newer members, they've been in the band for a while now, have kind of like gelled and they feel like more like a cohesive unit again.
Totally. Yeah, I hear that.
So it's kind of got me excited for the new album. No, like I was always going to be excited, but I feel like it's going to be potentially an album that you could rank alongside some of their best works.
I'm not as big an Enslaved fan as you guys, but I've always enjoyed their stuff a lot, and like I always know I'm going to enjoy something when I listen to it. It's like a really unique feeling, like a sensation of when you listen to music where it's like you're eating with your ears. You know what I mean? It's like you can you're really like feeling and hearing everything in the music throughout the whole song. Whereas like if I'm just kind of meh about a band, I just tune out really quickly and I'm like, oh no, the song's finished. I need to listen to it properly again. Whereas with this, it's like the whole time I'm mindfully like feeling and on the journey with the song and like really like relishing every single like thing, every detail that's happening. And you just know there's so much going on. You keep finding, bless you, keep finding more and more details every time you listen. So I'm enjoying that. I feel like I've embarked on a culinary journey.
Of the ears.
Of the ears.
I thought that's a very succinct way of putting it. I like that.
Perhaps.
It's, no, I mean, to be fair, I think, out of a lot of the bands in the respective scene, I feel like they're one of the bands that has the keenest ear for melody.
I agree.
Like they've got some of the most achingly beautiful melodies I've ever heard in any song ever across their entire back catalogue.
What was it we were listening to earlier? It's one of my favourite. It was like Hammers, Tears.
Thoughts Like Hammers.
Thoughts like. Why did I say that like a song?
Hammers, tears,
It was the beginning of Good King Wenceslas.
yeah.
I thought you were going to say Hammer Smash Face. Hammer Smash Thoughts by Enslaved.
By Enslaved. But yeah, I really love that. Like, it's not off key, but it's not in the same key. It's in like a relative key with the vocals, like
Yes.
discordant.
Third round,
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that. And like it's like mournful. It's like a stone giant in a cave mourning the loss of the rest of his relatives. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like Shem quoted this when we done the episode last time, but there was that kid, is that Little Punk Rock People, or the kid's name's Elliot, right? And he was doing an interview with Enslaved, and he was kind of like saying it sounds like kind of like gods fighting with each other, because you got one voice that's the harsh vocals, and the clean vocals is like still quite like powerful, but it's more like laid back and kind of like, I don't know, kind of
That's sick.
shamanic.
I love that.
No, yeah. So I am totally hyped for this album, and I feel like I can't wait for them to tour again. It's been a while since I've seen them
I want
live.
to see them. Yeah, are they on any lineups we're going to go see?
Well, I'm hoping they get booked for Damnation.
Ooh,
I
that
think-
would be the deal breaker for me. I'll definitely go if they play.
Are they playing? Because they were booked for Arctangent last year, right?
Yeah,
but they cancelled.
They're booked for this year. I don't know.
I kind of want to go to Arctangent this year. Have you seen the lineup? It's so good.
I actually haven't.
Shall we?
Yeah, go on, bring up.
It's the same lineup as last year, so did it happen last year?
It happened last year because it's a week after Bloodstock, isn't it? So I knew people that were doing the double bill, and and I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't camp at a festival.
I wouldn't camp if we went, but oh my god, I have this all the time. I can't type on my phone anymore.
Where is Arctangent?
I don't actually know. Let's find out.
Yeah, because I do know they were scheduled to play last year, and
Bristol.
other than Bristol.
Where is it?
Yeah, not too bad actually. You could easily get an Airbnb nearby.
Got to go to Bristol. Rest in Peace Temples Festival.
Oh man, I actually got a ticket to that and didn't go. That's so bad of me. So we've got High Lung, Converge, or
Nice.
Converge, Deaf Heaven, Igor Swan's Empire State Bastard. I was going to say Of Mind. I don't know what this is. Is it Jazzist? Jag
Jazz.
Jugava?
Fuck knows.
And then Pigs. And so I watch you from from
Alive. It's all
Alive.
Feel so alive.
Hi. I feel so
Alive for the very first time. I think I could fly.
Or is it, and so I watch you from afar? That I was trying to say, Loathe, Cave In, Russian Circles, Enslaved, The Ocean, Elder, Brutus, Fallout. That's not
That's
Fallout
Bola.
Boy. What's that one? Fall of Troy. I thought it was Fallout
Yeah, Fall of
Boy. I was like, well, they're a bit low on the bill. This is like an eye test because it's getting really small.
This is
Scalping.
this is a challenge. See Liturgy. Is that Svalbard? Yep.
Yeah.
Conjurer.
Holy Fawn, Weedagoog, LNNN, Birds and Row, 68 People Slicer, Pet Brick.
That's a good lineup, actually.
And that's just the top of the lineup. That's
Shit.
not including the little bands.
I'd love to see LLNN.
I'd
Double L, double
love
N.
to see them as well.
We're going to see them at Hellfest, no?
I want to see them
Oh,
again.
they're Hellfest.
I think they're playing Hellfest.
There's
One
gonna
of the-
be clashes.
One of the days when we're there.
Yeah.
Sick.
All right. I messed up. Yeah, no, it's a good lineup. I love the Bloodstock lineup, but this is Arctangent have just been really consistent over the past few years.
Yeah,
I
they have been
kind of
quite
want to
good.
go.
Yeah,
I've
no, it's
heard-
good.
It's a good vibe, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I like Bristol.
I want to play it.
Okay.
Hit us up.
Lowen are available for shows.
I think
We're already playing Desert Fest.
Deaf Heaven are playing Roadburn, aren't they? I think they're playing Sunbather in full there this
Oh,
year.
no way.
Yeah.
Well, we can hit them up and ask them to play it for us at Bristol. Oh, no, they're playing Sunbraver in full as well at Art Tangent.
Cool.
Sorry, Roadburn. There's a UK version of the set in town.
Well, maybe I'll go Arc Tangent to catch Enslaved there. They'll probably do a UK tour at some point, I imagine. So it's not unlike them to.
Last year they had Opeth as well. So I was like really wanting to go last year. No, Opeth aren't on this one. I would have loved to see them.
We saw them at Hellfest. We saw the main stage at Hellfest.
Oh, we did, didn't we? See, because it was 2 weeks of Hellfest, it feels like 5 years ago. I don't really have like much.
Was he wearing his hat?
No.
It was really hot.
They were fucking good though.
They were very
They were
good.
so good.
Oh, it was beautiful. The sound is always amazing when
Did they play Sorcerer? No, not Sorcerer.
Sorceress. They
Sorceress,
did.
sorry.
I lost my shit.
Yeah.
I don't even remember, but I know I lost my shit. I think I remember being like really excited, and then my memory kind of fades after that. Yeah, it was
Sounds like
amazing.
heat stroke.
Definitely
People
was
literally
heat stroke.
collapsed with heat stroke at Opeth.
I'm not surprised.
We saw people being stretched
Really?
away.
Fuck.
Out of the pit,
Yeah, we were just like,
Damn.
I was just like, yeah, Sorceress, my favorite riff of all time. And then there's just people on stretchers like completely
It
passed
was-
out.
It was a 40-degree day.
Fuck.
That
It was
the day.
46 degrees.
Are you serious?
It was 46.
That's right,
It was 40.
46.
I think it was 47
It was
at times
crazy.
too.
That's
It was definitely
brutal.
50 degrees in
And there
certain
was
areas.
No shade.
In the
Zero
market,
shade.
someone had like a temperature reader in the market. It was like more than 50 degrees.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Global
insane.
warming. Yeah. Well, that's the Arc Tangent lineup. It's
So
very
watch this
good.
space. Who knows? We'll
Floyd,
see what happens.
What are you going to do if it's 46 degrees when we go to Hellfest?
Fucking die. I'll get one of those hazmat suits
Full
just
of
to fucking
ice.
protect my skin.
No, we should take you to the
The misting area.
misting area.
We'll
Yeah.
Do you
definitely.
know what, funny thing?
Gorillas in the mist.
I, believe it or not, actually do all right in extreme heat. I went to Turkey in 1998. We were talking about this. 'cause
We were both there.
We were both there at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and it was like close to 50 or maybe a shade over 50.
It was. People were breaking out in boils.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was
really
wild, and I was like 10 or 11, and I handled that well.
hot. I was 7 at the time. Yeah, I was okay. I feel like the older I've gotten, though, the worse I am with temperature.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, I mean, Bloodstock was tough, and that was like 30 something.
Yeah.
So like adding another 10 degrees onto that.
I'm
But
probably going to wear basketball shorts.
I'm just gonna wear like I literally was on the day I was just in my bra.
Yeah.
Like it was just impossible to wear clothes.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. I've got to keep my skin covered because I'll just burn. So I could probably get away with a t-shirt as long as
We should get you a hijab. Nick, I'll just get you a full robe.
I'd be game for that.
It would go. You're like, is it even legal in France? You can't cover your face, can you? Oh shit! Yeah, you can't do that.
Please do not cover your face.
Master of accents.
For people who are listening, I've made a very disapproving face. We do not condone Shem's behaviour on this podcast. We tend to take the opposite stance of whatever he's doing at the time.
French people love me. It's fine.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Anyway, I really don't know how to follow on from that. I think that's probably everything we can say about this EP because I don't want to.
so.
I don't want to blow my load before the whole album comes out.
No, but neither did Enslaved. I mean, I only released a few tracks.
They're keeping us sweet. This is the pre-game. Yes, some of the recordings were done at a hotel.
Oh, no way.
Additional recordings done at Overlook Hotel.
Cool.
Good for them.
Well, I was this close from doing a DSBM album in the hotel in Birmingham I was staying at, and that's how fucking depressed I was.
Oh, no.
I wasn't actually depressed, but it was...
It sounded like hell.
yeah, I mean, the window didn't open, the aircon was drying out my throat. Would have been the perfect time because my throat was so raspy.
Oh.
I could have done some sick black metal vocals.
Yeah. Yes. Shall we move on to Memoriam Rise to Power? This
Yeah,
is...
speaking of Birmingham...
Yeah! Hey, we found it. We found the bridge.
Heimdall guards the bridge.
Exactly. I was going to...
Wait, is it Heimdall? Wait.
Heimdall.
It's Heimdall, isn't it?
I thought it was Heimdall.
Heimdall sounds better.
In 4, when the only like one of the few Marvel movies I've ever seen, they say Heimdall.
I thought they say Heimdall.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. Heimdall. It sounds like a hamburger type.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Heimdall sounds like a hinge.
Heimdall.
That's queer cheese.
Heimdall cheese. Yeah, now let's reduce the cultural heritage of Scandinavia into foodstuffs. But yeah, Memoriam Rust Power. We've been at the podcast for so long. This is the second second LP release we've covered by Memoriam.
In fairness to them, they are pretty prolific. I mean, this is album number 5 in about as many years.
We've been going for 2, I think.
Damn, brilliant. 2 years.
Oh, is it free?
It is. Yeah. Wow, didn't it?
Yeah.
We're old. Well, how many episodes? We're nearly 100. We should do something for the 100th episode. We should just do something like vaguely spicy. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I've
got a few ideas.
Ooh, okay. I'm scared. Memoriam Rise to Power. I bloody love Memoriam.
They're so good. And it's still the same lineup from when they formed, from what I've gathered. So you've got Frank Healy on bass, Scott Fairfax guitars, the legendary sweetheart Carl Willits on vocals, and Spiky T. Smith on drums. So
Andy Well used to play drums in this band.
Oh, you're right, actually. Yeah, sorry. So it is, I think this is Spiky's second or third outfit on drums, isn't it? Yeah.
I think he was
Apologies.
the new drummer when we covered the last album.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, oh, the new drummer's great. And now he's not the new drummer anymore. He's the drummer. Yay.
But it's, I think this is their best album, personally.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Totally agree. This album was like a total step up from their previous stuff, which was always strong and amazing. And they were really good at Hellfest as well. There was a moment where Carl like lay down on stage and like did this. He was like a French girl.
They were on fire.
They're really good live.
Their set was probably one of the most incendiary of the whole festival, I think.
On fire like a Frenchman in an OPEF pit.
Yeah.
It's probably all the English people that were dropping dead like flies, though, to be honest.
He waved at us.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We did get away from Carl Willits.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah, it was very cool. I felt very honoured.
Yeah, so some cool facts. So Dan Seagrave did the art for this album, so the legendary artist.
He's done the art for a trilogy of their albums, I believe.
Yeah?
All of them.
Pretty much all of them.
I think it's all of them. It's all like linked to the rise and fall of an empire or a king?
I believe so, yeah. And for anyone that doesn't know, he is arguably the greatest or one of the greatest metal artists around. The legendary albums such as Effigy of the Forgotten by Suffocation, Erosion of Sanity, and Considered Dead. I think they're Considered Dead as well by Gorguts, but just been around the scene for a long time. And I just like the fact how this band, like this is an album that's released in 2023 that there's so many components of everything that makes the scene great.
Yeah.
You've got literally Carl Willits, the vocalist of Bolt Thrower, right? And it's just like got like the fucking best fucking metal artist out there, and also Russ Russell, one of the best producers as well.
Great guy.
Oh, he's such a babe.
We'll probably have him on the podcast at some point.
That'd be great.
We'll get him. Yeah.
He
And
walks up to me and gave me a hug at Bloodstock, and I looked at Nina and I was like, "Who is this?"
I was like, "It's Russ Russell."
I was like, "Oh fuck, Russ! Nice to meet you."
Yeah, he's really cool. And then you've also got Frank from Benediction as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
There's so many
it's kind of like a veritable who's who of like the British death metal scene.
Totally. We just need to get Bill Steer in as well.
That'd be cool.
I would like to
Get
see
to do
that.
a sick guest solo.
I dig that. Yeah, I've always loved like the politics of Carl as well, and you see that reflected in the album. I totally can see. I mean, every single song name is like "Never Forget," "Never Again," 6 Million Dead. Obviously, that you know what that's a reference to, unless you live under a rock or are a Joe Rogan fan. I don't know. Probably should have said that. It's not necessarily true. But yeah, I love it. And the lyrics in this were really good. And something I noted in the last album we did, I was like, I vaguely remember saying, oh, there are bits that remind me of Killing Joke. And now the whole album reminds me of Killing Joke.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, some of the vocal delivery is like very Jazz Coleman. And then there's just times where like the way it interacts, there's like a lot of syncopation. And there's like moments where just musically it really reminds me of certain Killing Joke songs as well.
Yeah, I could totally hear that. Funny enough, it actually reminded me of At the Gates a lot of moments. It had more of a mellow-deathy vibe about it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because Russ Russell did do the last few At the Gates albums.
Nice.
And there is times where just like it just have that kind of like Gothenburg, like slickness to it at times, and it's just. But yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying about the Jazz Coben thing as well. I just think there's just something about coming from a working class background that I think just
the bellow.
Yeah, from like the Midlands or up north that just kind of cuts through like fucking everything else, and it's just so relatable.
Yeah, he's like a general calling out commands on a battlefield.
Yeah, and I think his voice sounds. This is the best I think his voice has sounded.
I agree.
On any of the previous Memoriam albums.
I think maybe it's to do with the production, because I think the production on this album is like really good.
It's really good.
Like there's
top notch.
Really some moments where like the chords and the guitars like just sound really like delicious, and I was gonna say fruity, but I don't know if that just sounds doesn't sound quite right. What's the word? It just sounds there's a lot of color, and you can hear all the notes separately, but it's not like standing out too far from anything else in the mix. And then the vocals as well, like they're very clear, and like you can hear everything that Carl's doing, like when he's introducing like any distortion, or if he's changing his like just the quality of his voice like really shines through in a way that I appreciate a lot when you can hear it in like with the whole mix, I guess. It like it's chaotic, but in the way that they intended it to be. It's well put together, is what I'm trying to say.
Like organized militaristic chaos.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I totally 100% agree. I think the guitar work is amazing. I think the lead work is just so good. Like everything sounds so soaring and crystal clear. The opening track is great, so Never Forget, Never Again, 6 Million Dead. As you said, pretty fucking obvious as to what that's referring to.
Yeah.
It sounded like it kind of started like a Rush song. Sounded like something of moving pictures in a way.
Oh my God, it did, yeah.
Yeah, it had like that weird kind of like almost like Neil Peart isms to the drums. Like
nice.
it was just kind of wild. And then just transitioned into some sick like fucking tremolo riff and there's so many moments. And it was like this with the previous Memoriam album, where there was so many moments that reminded me of other bands, but like not in a plagiaristic way.
Yeah.
Like the second song, Total War, which was like so groovy and kind of staccato, that reminded me of like old Fear Factory or like or certain parts of like Sepultura and stuff. Like it was just had such rhythmic like bombacity. Is that a word? Bombacity?
Bombastic.
Bombastic.
Bombosity.
Bombasticity.
Bombosity. I like bombosity.
Oh, we'll look it up.
We'll...
Tom Bombadil-ocity, yeah.
Yes! I want a Tom Bombadil themed album.
That'd be sick.
I used to remember reading like the poetry of his songs and like trying to work out what the melody that Tolkien thought they would be. I wonder if there's like any footage of him singing it.
Yeah, possibly.
It's got to be.
That's a good idea for an episode, just a deep dive on them. Yeah.
Just a Tom Bombadil. Just Tom Bombadil.
No.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Yeah. Funny, I don't know if I should say it on the podcast. I don't think I've told you, but I got offered to be an extra on Rings of Power.
No way.
And I turned it down.
Really?
It was a night shoot, and it was literally would have been last night. And like in this weather, outside the whole time.
Oh shit.
And they were like, "Are you okay with us putting prosthetics on your teeth and your whole body?" And I was like, "Does that mean I'm going to be an orc? I don't want to be an orc." Of all the things to be on Rings of Power, it would be cool, but at the same time, I feel slightly insulted. Yeah.
Sounds like it could have been the start of your NSBM arc. Got the show as an orc.
It's my Joker moment. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, it would have sucked, honestly. It would have been very cool, but also it would have sucked.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, so they must be filming for that then.
They're filming it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I probably won't see that for another couple of years, though, I imagine.
The series 2 is coming out in like 2 years, and I thought they'd finished filming it. Because I was talking to someone who was on it who was telling me about some of the storylines, and I was like, oh. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to Memoriam after I've slagged off a TV show that I do actually like. I've written, first thing that strikes me is how crisp the production is on the guitar. You can hear every note sing in them. And I've written, ooh, spicy counter-rhythmic transition with the vocals. Love the syncopated drums.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of like the majority of my notes on the album. Ooh, spicy.
My notes are pretty much the same, but in much more simplistic terms. I was just like, that was a good riff. But like, there's a few moments that I really enjoyed, like the track "Always Lost." I just thought that was just savagely brutal. Just love the groove on that track. Annihilation's Dawn. I like it. It's good, and I like albums that kind of like have a good flow to it. And I think, like with this album, what was cool was you got to a few of the tracks. I think it was track 3, I Am the Enemy, and then The Conflict Is Within, which were more like mid-paced and a bit more melancholic and morose, and then the pace picked back up again. Like, I kind of like that. I don't really like the slower tracks to be towards the end of an album.
I agree. I think they should be like near the...
Yeah.
I think it's really good to have the slow tracks just before the crescendo and the peak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like whether or not Memoriam have done that consciously or not, I feel like they've paced the album tremendously. I feel like the last tracks you get, you've got like, it starts off really heavy and strong, then kind of like dips down a bit with like the more melodic tracks, and then picks back up again with a few rages, and the last track was very atmospheric and brooding as well, but like kind of had a good balance of all elements of the previous tracks, which is what I always appreciate in the final track as well. I like when the final track combines everything you've heard in the album.
Totally.
And then just like fucking kind of throws the kitchen sink at you.
It's a heavy as fuck album. It's beautiful. And like, it really feels like this is like the best work they've done.
Yeah, I agree.
It feels like it's a total culmination of everything they've been doing, and it's just beautiful. I really loved the use of repetition as well. Like vocally, there were times where Carl was like repeating like stuff like "Never Forget," and I couldn't find the lyrics online, but I would love to read them like when they do get published, because I thought there was just some really beautiful moments lyrically on the album where he was like really emphasizing, like working with the rhythm of the song in a way where the vocals were becoming part of like the percussion in some ways as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's good when the band doesn't treat vocals as an afterthought.
Yeah.
And actually uses it as an additional element and not just something that's just added in afterwards. So it's like, oh, fuck it, just do some gurgles and just pitch them low. But like, totally agreed. And like, I like the repetition in vocals as well. I think it's good to hammer home. Like, if you take, obviously totally different genre, but take like a track like Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the fucking same words repeated over and over again, but it's just so effective.
Sounds great.
And it's just like, sometimes it's necessary to just say the same thing over and over again to really hammer home a point. And it's a big thing in grindcore as well that I always really dig with a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Just fucking absolutely 100% agreed. This is definitely, in my opinion, their best album. I think it's just a culmination. I think everything is just aligned. Like, the production's amazing. All the band members seem to be firing on all cylinders. And it's like, they don't feel like a legacy band. It's not just, this is what some of the guys of some old bands are up to now, just to try and make a quick buck. And well, let's be honest, no one's making a fucking quick buck in the music industry.
There's no more quick bucks in this economy.
But like, this feels still like a legitimate band. Like, it's not just, this is what the guy from Boat Thrower is doing now. It's like, no, this is a fucking legit band that's doing their own fucking thing and still releasing sick music.
Totally. I fully agree with that. I think it's a brilliant piece of work. I really, really hope we can get Carl on the podcast at some point.
That'd be amazing.
It'll be very, very cool. Should we talk about the Damnation announcement?
Well, yes, let's, because was it last night when they announced, or in the last 48 hours?
Yes.
They've announced that Akakoka will be performing Koronsen in full.
Yes, at the pre-Damnation.
That's it, the pre-headline in there.
the pre-event.
So that's a Night of Salvation, which will take place presumably on the Friday, before the main day's proceedings on Saturday. But it's funny because like the Friday show is shaping up to be as momentous as the second day, to the point where it almost feels like a 2-dayer now.
Honestly, I think maybe that's what they're going to go for at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised because, it's because last year was pretty good as well. Like, I know they had Ithaca were there, right? Pretty sure Ithaca played.
Ithaca,
Pupil Slicer.
Orange Goblin. I think they were.
I can't remember. I didn't go to it, so I didn't remember because I couldn't get the time off.
Because it was all album special sets. Damnation. I'm really bad at typing.
Because they've always had like that night before, but it's always been like, like a typical pre-festival kind of show, which is like, just a real appetite whetter. But like last year I should say, like it was like an actual proper legit like show. And I think you are right. I think they are going to be going for that this year. Because Akakoka would be a band I'd expect to see on the Saturday. So the fact that they're got them on the Friday. I
was wrong. It was not Orange Goblin.
So it was Celeste, We Lost the Sea, Ithaca, Pupil Slicer, Mastiff. See, that's like good. Yeah, that's a good bill in the bands. They did have Akakoka play the Friday before.
They had them go at Mendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was like... Did we?
We watched the live stream.
I thought I didn't remember. Yeah, well, it's amazing. Like, Yeah, I kind of wish I was there to see it, but Coronzon is one of my favourites. You think of the voices?
No, we did watch it, but it wasn't live. They streamed it afterwards. We watched it with the band. The band were in the chat at the same time.
That's right, yeah.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Hotel Radio,
yeah.
they're great. They're really good. Yeah, they did the voices set during COVID at the Black Heart. That was cool. Yeah, it was really cool. Wow, my memory's really terrible. I need to start keeping a diary. Yes.
You're saying that Coronzon is one of your favourite albums?
My favourite album of all time is Words That Go Unspoken, Deeds That Go Undone, followed by Antichrist. And then I think it's Coronzon.
I mean, there's so many fucking bangers on that album.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
just...
So good. That's the one with Ceremony of Nine Angels, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Oh.
No, actually,
No?
let's get the track listing up.
Let's get it. Yeah, what is the track listing of Coronzon? It's been a while since I've actually
Prince of the North.
Enraptured by...
Evil.
That's Words That Go Unspoken.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, let's bring it up.
Baphiclopian Avatar.
How do you even say that? Is that how you say it? Baphiclopian.
That's how I say it.
Achy cocky.
Leviathan.
Of course.
Oh.
What's the fucking...
So it's their third album. You've got Praise the Name of Satan, Prince of the North, Leviathan, Enraptured by Evil. Such a good riff. Coronzon, Valley of the Crucified. Oh.
Of the crucified.
Oh, Son of the Morning, Becoming the
Morning.
Adversary.
Son of the morning.
Upon Coriaceous Wings, Scapegoat, Becoming the Adversary. God, so Son of the Morning. We lose our shit when that comes
Son
on.
of the Morning.
Like,
Bear witness to
my
testimony.
the sins that I have done, unforgivable.
So fucking sick.
I fucking love it.
Like, struck down
By the mountains of God. I don't fucking know the words.
through the cracks
In the walls.
Cracks in my sanity. That cracks
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that song's going to be played live.
It goes like that.
It goes a little bit like
It
this.
sounded exactly like that.
It's really fucking good.
Everyone is just like, what the fuck, man?
Cocker is so sick.
They're the best.
Do you know what I mean? The
band.
best part, if somebody would like fucking skip the podcast forward and they skip right to that exact moment, they're like, what the fuck is going on?
We should just post a clip of us singing that song. as
Should
the
we?
advertising for the episode.
Amazing.
Was it the album? I was like, no, not the album. Oh my God. You're the best band in the whole fucking world.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
and that's going to be on the fucking night before the main proceedings. So I think it's going to be a good fucking festival. It was fantastic last year. You had At the Gates playing Slaughter and the Soul in full. You had Pig Destroyer playing, Prowler in the Yard. You had Converge, Jane Doe. Literally watching grown people cry.
Oh, yeah.
And Godflesh playing Street Cleaner. Had that panic moment. I was trying to remember all the albums off the top of my head.
I could see it on your face.
But who else have we got this year?
Got Strigoi.
I actually don't know Strigoi.
Is that the Paradise Lost side project?
Oh, it is, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
it Greg? Yeah. Cool. Never listened to them, so I'll check them out because I love Valenfire and I love Paradise Lost. So
I like the word Strigoi. I hope it's like really like seductive goth.
something to do with Dracula and vampires, isn't it?
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strigoi.
Something to do with vampires, isn't it?
It's vampires. We want to suck your blood.
You've got Rotten Sound. I am fucking hyped for Rotten Sound. So they are a fucking legendary grind band from Finland. And I think it's their first UK show since the mid to late 2000s.
Wow.
So that's big. I think they've got a new album coming out, so they will be performing new material, I'm sure. Because I did think it was a bit of a random booking before I realised that they were coming out with new shit. Because I think their last album was Abuse to Suffer in 2016. So that's a good 7-year gap. High Command, they're kind of like a thrashy band, aren't they? I've never listened to them, but I see them on a lot of
I
lineups.
see them on lineups too.
Yeah. Harriet, that's a name that's been buzzing around the scene for a while. I personally have never really listened to Harriet.
Same, not going to lie.
But
They're on
I
a
know
lot of lineups.
Yeah, there's some people absolutely spaffing their pants over them, so I might give them a shot at some point. Downfall of Gaia, that's another name I see being bounced around the scene sometimes. Not overly familiar with them either.
I'm in the same boat as you. I didn't know they were German.
Are they?
Really good band. I saw them at the Unicorn once. fucking awesome.
Are they kind of like
They're Melodeath?
No, they're like black. They're like atmospheric black metal. I want to say.
Oh, okay, cool. That
So
sounds
they're
like my
good.
sort of
They're
thing.
really good.
A band we do know, Anoan Afrak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
they
nice.
absolutely destroyed it at the Scala a few days before Christmas. Was it a few days after Christmas?
It was before.
Was Nick? Was it
It
before?
was when we got that horrible cough that we had throughout
yes,
the rest of December. It was like December 16th or something.
Yeah.
Great night, kind of worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Psy were amazing that night as well.
Oh my God, so good.
You got Ash and Spires. That's another band who's building up a fair amount of buzz on the scene at the moment. Got Serpent Temple alumni, Tyrannus.
Yes.
So Alistair from Tyrannus performs vocals in Ash and Spire, and they're making a big name on the scene. I mean, they were reviewed by Anthony Fantano. Still need to listen to them, so I will delve into them at some point as well.
Great band. And then Ahab, a band we recently reviewed.
Yep. I mean, that album, that
In the
review hasn't been
Coral
released yet, has
Tombs.
it?
Oh.
No,
When this comes out, we will have reviewed it though.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You don't have to worry about the future past.
The past, future, today, tomorrow, last week times.
But I'm super excited for them because I loved the latest album and I love all their works, and I've never seen them live. So it'd be cool to hear their unique blend of nautical funeral doom performed on the big stage.
Sad sailor mommy meme times. I don't know why I said that. I'm very tired. But yeah, they're very good. I really liked it in the Coral Tombs. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
And then Amon Ra, another band we reviewed but a while back. Didoran was fantastic.
Yeah, it's really looking forward to seeing them. I've heard that they put on a pretty intense live show.
Really?
I know Gavin from Damnation
they do
vouches for
the
them really
screen
hard.
thing. They've got like a special screen they put up. Is that
Not sure
right?
actually. I've not seen them. I've not even seen any footage of it. So you could be
Wow.
right.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. We'll find out.
But it's a good start, and none of them are headliners. There's no headliners
Oh,
announced
those aren't
yet.
headliners.
No, there's no headliners been announced yet. So that's the undercard / mid card.
That's the pre-headliners.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Actually, yeah. I mean, I thought for some reason that Amon Ra were headlining, but I'm excited to see because I mean, yeah, the headliners last year were very big.
Yeah.
I think they've really grown as
Well, yeah. Well, the interesting thing was Ministry pulling out was the best thing that ever happened to that festival because, I'm nothing against Ministry, but because they pulled out, that's why they convinced the other bands to do the album sets.
Yeah.
So it's and I think they should go down. I mean, if it was, I don't know anything about booking a festival, and I don't know if that was a successful move for them. I presume it was because everyone was there. Everyone there was fucking super excited to see all those bands perform those sets. But that's the avenue I would be going down, booking, you know, the bands in the future would be trying to convince them to do a bit more of a Roadburn style ting of the special sets.
I'm not an expert on pulling out, but
What?
I don't know. I wanted to make a pulling out joke. Okay.
It's good to...
I was going to say something, but about pulling out.
Well,
Just really wanted to make a pulling out joke.
Floyd was talking about pulling out, and for some reason, the way you said the best thing Ministry ever did was pulling out.
if Al Jurgensen pulled out of me, the first thing I'd do is be down to that clinic. Fuck.
I don't know why, but for some reason my mind went there.
Pull it out.
I hope they don't book Ministry for this year. Cause I mean,
They're probably gonna know, aren't they?
to be fair, they'd probably go down well. Loads of people love
Ministry.
Ministry.
Now.
Huh?
There's no way they've got to be.
What happened? They had to the whole tour got cancelled, right?
It was.
But Gav found out about it on Facebook.
Oh yeah, he
He
did.
found out when he read it.
Oh
on
shit!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh
Facebook. Very
no.
unprofessional.
That is unprofessional. I mean, it's technically their booking agent's fault, so maybe they found out in that way as well. Maybe they felt I don't know. I'm not a promoter.
I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't give too much of a shit about Ministry playing.
I've
so.
never really. I don't think I've even listened to Ministry.
I used to think that they did the theme song for Undertaker, but because he was in a stable called the Ministry of Darkness.
Oh.
And when I managed to download the Undertaker's theme, it was titled as Ministry, and the second, Ministry did the Ministry of Darkness theme song, but it wasn't. It
So
was,
many moments like that in the early 2000s, thanks to LimeWire.
I remember the other day, was it on the podcast when I was like, have you guys ever heard of Bear Share? And you both looked at me like I was trying to fucking...
I mean, that's because it's you saying it.
Yeah, that's true.
If Nina said, "Have you heard of Hair Share?"
Yeah. Yeah, but shout out to the bear share users. That was a real sight. That was.
Shout out to my bear.
It always had good seeds all the time. Like
Never going to pull out on you.
well seeded.
Floyd got fully seeded.
Yeah.
You should get a shirt that says that. I got seeded
I
on
want
bear
I want a fucking bear share shirt. It was a good logo as well. It's a really cute bear. But it was such a good sight, and it wasn't as virus heavy as like Kazaa. Oh, what's the other one?
Demon. What was it? Demon Torrent? I love Demon Torrent.
Well, I never used torrents. I only used file sharing sites.
I like torrents. I used to like torrents.
The
No,
worst
it's
one
slightly different.
was
like OFTP kind of shit.
I think
Yeah.
with torrents, it was like, I don't fucking remember, man. Torrents was slightly different, I think.
there was Pirate Bay, which I never used, but that was a big one for a while.
Pirate Bay was more virusy, but Demon Torrent, you kind of had to get invited into it. And they had message boards as well, and you could like go search music.
Yeah, there's still a few good sites out there for metal. I'm not going to dox them though on the podcast because
They'll dox
how
you.
shit would that be? Get them shut down because I've name dropped them on the podcast. But no, it's what was I going to say? The worst one was WinMX. You ever use WinMX?
No, I'm thinking of Winamp.
It's just a media browser, is it not?
Well, no. Well, WinMX was kind of a bit of everything, but it had chat rooms, and no one was moderating those chat rooms. Like there was the most sus shit imaginable on there, and it was.
You go in chat rooms and people would just post pictures of like dead bodies from like rotten.com and stuff.
Yeah.
It was so lawless.
Well, it's just like, well, I remember going on, I remember even like Yahoo chat rooms. I remember before they were like properly monitored. Like me and the siblings would go on. As soon as we tell them our age, then suddenly you just get an inbox of like hundreds of messages from people. Real sinister shit when you think about it. But,
I wasn't allowed to use MSN when I was at secondary school, which is kind of one of the reasons I never had any friends, because everyone would just communicate via MSN. So I was just like immediately exiled. And then once, when I was like 14, year 8 and 9, I managed to convince my parents to let me open an MSN account. It was like the greatest day of my teenage life. I was like, oh my God, finally I'm gonna be able to communicate with people and have friends. And so these like, my friends came around, we opened MSN, they helped me set it up. And immediately someone sent me a picture of a full English breakfast on a plate, but instead of sausages,
it was a cock.
it was a big old cock.
I've seen that.
And then obviously after they left, my mum went through my history, my browser history, and she was like, Nina, you're watching porn. I was like, no, it's not porn. It was a joke. She's like, what's the? How is this funny? She was like, this is a joke. This is porn. I was like, no, you don't understand. And then I was never allowed to use MSN again.
That reminds me of two stories. First one, when I downloaded the album, it was the band Romper Prop, and they had the album Hellcock's Pornflakes. And it was just some guy jizzing into a bowl of cornflakes. I was like, this is
You got seeded on that one.
Yeah. That was, yeah. And the second thing that reminded me of, you mentioned an MSN, was, did I tell you the Shavo Dagian story about MSN Messenger?
Oh, is this when there was this guy called Shavo on MSN?
No, I was like a big System fan, and you could like search usernames. So I was like, I'm going to search the names of the members of System of a Down. And there was like this guy, and he had like, his name was Shavo Dagian, and I added him, and he wasn't online for ages. As soon as he appeared online, I was like, are you Shavo from System of a Down? He was like, no, and I got immediately blocked. So
That's amazing. I love stuff
I bet
like
it was
that.
him.
Maybe it was.
No.
Maybe it was. I love that he replied to you, though.
Yeah. There used to be that scummy trick everyone used to pull where, like, well, maybe not scummy is not the right word, but annoying, where, because you could appear offline and then, like, so you'd go online for a bit and anybody that wanted to chat to you that you didn't want to speak to would then suddenly just appear online, like, seconds after you would. And it was just so obvious that they were just waiting, and it was just like, and then you felt like obliged to have like a conversation for a bit. It was like, oh, sorry, got to go. So I just used to always appear offline and only chat in offline mode. Yeah.
Stealth
mode engaged.
Those simpler times.
Different universe. Really feels like it, honestly. I feel like we've shifted into a new time frame. Yeah, and that's like in 10, 20 years. So like when we're old, the world's going to be so different. How scary is that? We're all going to die. Anyway, so thank you so much for listening and watching to the Serpent Temple podcast. Thanks for making it this far, coming on this journey with us through time and space. through bridges and seeds and strange terms. Feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment. Feel free to email us with any comments or questions or statements or anything you like, really. Just tell us something. If you want to... So...
Agony aunt.
We are totally open to people who want advice on anything. Relationships, how to be in a band, what to do, like fashion advice. As you can see, we're very well-dressed people. Hair care, beard care, you name it. Hair share, bear care.
I've got hair care covered.
I've got beard care covered. But yeah, anything you need, guys and girls and those who are neither, hit us up. We are here for you. There is an email in the description of the podcast. Feel free to write in. We would love to hear what you have to say. But in the meantime, like and subscribe. Thank you. And
We'll
goodbye.
see you at Arctangent, maybe.
Maybe.